stars who come on our show get starstruck. Here's someone we love talking about a time they met someone they love.
I did a movie called What Planet Are You From? And I showed up and Annette Bening was on the set and they set a chair up for me next to her. And she started talking to me like I was a normal person. And she misread me because I wasn't normal. I could not get over how starstruck I was. She was actually very nice about it. She engaged me in conversation and I was trying to act really cool. And I literally slid down the chair. I almost fell off the chair trying to act cool because I lost my spine. I lost all the awareness of my spine. So anyway, if Annette Bening is out there, I blew it. I wish I could have talked to you like a normal person and maybe we'll do it again someday.
The biggest time I was starstruck, I was invited to an after party at the Russian Tea Room to meet Paul McCartney. Talking to Paul McCartney is just bizarre because, he'd be like, John used to sit, like that, and you go, John Lennon? That's who you're talking about? Like, yeah, because you're Paul McCartney, and yeah. And so I just kept kind of stuttering, just staring and kind of blinking a lot. I was asking him all the dumb questions you asked about the Beatles and Paul McCartney. I remember I told my mom I might be going to this. My mom's like,
if you go to the Russian Tea Room, you have to get a Moscow Mule.
The owner comes over and says, can I get you anything? And I go, can I have the Moscow Mule? Thinking Paul would be like, he's cool. Do you want to refilm the Beatles with you in it? He doesn't even hear me. And the rest is history, and we currently don't speak.
The first time I was completely starstruck was when I met Janet Jackson. The first time I met her was in Miami at Club Bed. She was dating Jermaine Dupri at the time, and I was at the club with Wilmer Valderrama. All of a sudden, Wilmer comes running up to me and he's like, yo, JD wants you to meet Janet Jackson. And I immediately start crying. And I hop up there and she pops up, she gets up and she says, I'm so proud of you. And when I say ugly cry with snot, the whole thing, for Janet Jackson to even know who the heck I was, much less to be saying it to my face as she hugged me, was the dream, the dream. I loved her that day and I loved her. I continue to love her.
I have been absolutely starstruck 2 times. One was seeing Britney Spears' backup dancer. It was the most important day of my life. His name is TJ. I'm sure you guys know who he is. He is iconic, and I saw him at a restaurant in Santa Monica, and I almost cried. And the second time I was starstruck was seeing Tori Spelling, AKA Donna Martin, at a charity event in Brentwood when I was 10.
I was getting into an elevator after finishing an audition, and as I walk into the elevator, there's a man just kind of standing there, not sitting, standing, and I'm looking at him going why do I know this face? Why do I know this face? And it was Henry Winkler. And I just continued to stare at him until finally he was like, do we know each other? I was like, I don't know, do we?
I probably have to say Shonda Rhimes. I think when I went for my audition and met Shonda Rhimes, it kind of put me off a bit. I was like, whoo, this is a big deal. But yeah, Shonda Rhimes. And then I have another story, but it's kind of disappointing. And I went to a party back when we could go to parties last year. And I was, it was getting late, and I said to Johnny, who plays Anthony in the show, I said, I think I'm gonna leave, I'm quite tired. And he calls me 5 minutes later, and he says, Rihanna's here, you missed Rihanna. So I was gutted, I missed out on meeting Rihanna, but I would have been very starstruck had I met her.
I'm very stuck on what story to tell because I've been starstruck literally so many times. But I think one time that comes to my mind is the first time I ever met Lori Hernandez, a member of the 2016 Final 5 Rio de Janeiro Olympic women's gymnastics teams from the United States of America, honey. It was like an invisible person smacked me across the face and I did 3 Sinead turns, ran into a wall and almost started to hyperventilate and cry. And then I looked up and I realized that her mom was standing in front of me watching me have a nervous breakdown in front of her daughter. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm just a super fan. I'm so obsessed, love so much. So that's I feel like that was the biggest reaction I ever made to seeing someone and not being able to keep my cool whatsoever.
Boy, moment I was starstruck. 1997. I'm in New York City, and I've got a meeting with Paul Newman. My cab dropped me off about 20 blocks short of Paul Newman, and it was in the winter, so I love to be on time. I didn't want to be late for the Paul Newman meeting. but I had 5 minutes to cover 20 blocks, so I ran. I remember it was freezing cold, but I still broke a sweat to get there. I got there and met one of my favorite actors, somebody that I looked up to, someone who I looked up to about who they were as actors on the screen and the life they lived off the screen. We played a little pool. We chatted this and that for a little over an hour, and as I left, I'll never forget the last words he said to me. I was walking out the door of his office, about to shut it behind me, and he goes, "Hey, McConaughey." I turned around and I said, "Yes, sir." And he goes, "Give him hell." That was pretty cool.
That was such a fun story.